10 years ago, I met two entrepreneurs who just put their life savings into a software. They hired their first developer, and when I looked at it, I had to tell them that they actually needed 3 times longer and need to invest 3 times more into the software than what they already had. My name is Till, and I had a software agency, and now I run my own SaaS business. And I know firsthand why developers always cost more than you think. And so here are the 5 reasons why you underestimate how much your first developer will actually cost you. Reason number 1, they built the wrong thing because you asked for it. If you hire the first developer, you need to make sure that they know exactly what's expected of them, and they should build that thing and no more and no less. Trust me, I have learned the hard way what happens when you don't specify exactly what's required. I hired my developer to create me an onboarding feature for my SaaS. In that onboarding flow, we had a WhatsApp number input, and we wanted to make sure that it's actually WhatsApp number and that the people going through the onboarding don't just put in like a 0 without a country code. Now, what I thought he would do is just create a text field with a plus button and then maybe a picker for the country. But what he built was a full validation system for WhatsApp numbers. Every country had their own code and it would check against that validation. It was clearly over the top and it took him 2.5 weeks to get this done. I thought I told him to build a simple WhatsApp number input. But what he thought I tell him was make a number input that validates WhatsApp numbers and make sure it works in every single case, is well designed and bulletproof. These 2.5 weeks could have spent much better on another feature that actually moved the needle. On another occasion, I actually lost 4 weeks in the development process. But stick around, I keep those more costly mistakes for the end. Reason number 2, estimations are always wrong. And that's a mistake even the experienced developers make. They always underestimated the effort that something takes. They can never see all the edge cases, they can only see a bit in advance, and this results usually in a factor being added on top of the initial estimation. Let me tell you about my CRM software. We set out to code for 3 months, and we thought we would have a solid prototype. But once we had the prototype, we had to continue and add more things to the software. And now we are 1 year into the development and we finally think we are done. And this isn't unique to me. There's a common fallacy in software development, and people say the most conservative estimation needs to be tripled in order to have the realistic estimation. Now, you cannot add this factor before. You first need to really estimate and really be conservative and think about all the edge cases, and then later add the factor of 3. What also helps quite a bit if you're starting out hiring your first developer is that you just add the factor of 3 and let the developer do their own estimation. So you keep a buffer, and this usually saves you from running over the cost that you expected. But why is that the case? Well, there are a couple of reasons why this is off. People have to first learn the problem domain. Then there are things coming along like integrations. You never know how a different system behaves that you need to connect to. And then there's scope creep. Scope creep means you're adding features as you go along. You're seeing a version from the developer and you're thinking, oh, this is cool, we can actually do something more here. And then you add this, and this of course adds to the timeline. Then a lot of times people are not adding tests and bug fixes, and those always take time. And also very, very common, people usually don't talk about this because this is when the developer goes into their chamber and work for like a day because they have some bug that they cannot figure out. There's some library breaking and you never really know when you get out of this and when it's solved. These are usually a big dark number that adds on top of things as well. Reason 3, technical debt can turn into technical bankruptcy. The best example here is a call I had with a founder who had another job. So he put in 5,000 euros into an MVP, into an app that a developer coded for him. So this thing was done and he thought, okay, great, now he can iterate on that. And then he wanted to add one button and the developer quoted him 8,000 euros. And this is no joke. The reason was that he couldn't add this button without completely reworking the app. Something was just structurally not made for adding this button, for being possible to extend the app with this button. Technical debt is real and this happens to everybody. And the problem is in the beginning you don't see it because you build the structure in a way that fulfills the need of the client. In this case, you, if you're non-technical, hiring out into a developer. This technical debt piles up And if the developer is inexperienced, the threats of technical debt is even higher. What I would have done is completely started from scratch, because if the app already has this huge issue, the small app with a size of 5,000 euros, if that already has such a huge technical debt, what else could be in there? So I would probably start completely new and really look through what is the thing that we're building and why did this button cost so much. Reason number 4, production errors, and they cost real money. We had the case in a contract management app that we coded in a bigger team back when I was a freelancer, where our customers were able to change their contracts in certain ways. Now the problem was the underlying calculation logic of how much money we actually took after each change. And that was flawed. So for some customers we just took too much, and for some we took too little. Now what happened for the ones we took too much from, of course we needed to give them a refund. So we lost real money just by a couple of calculation bugs. And there's something I want to point out which I just read in a book. It's a book about this guy who made the Silk Road. He was not a developer, he was self-taught, and of course he was a junior. And he once had this bug that everybody purchasing something on his platform actually sucked some bitcoins out of his main wallet. So on every purchase, he lost real money. Of course, that's a very crazy example of an illegal platform that got coded years ago, but the lesson is clear. Don't let a junior developer ship production code. Always have a senior to check what they actually did and make sure we have enough tests and make sure that the code actually works and does the right thing. And of course, it's also a good idea to budget 20% more for these oh shit moments that you haven't seen coming, so that you have actually some budget for someone to come and fix things when they break. Reason number 5, they build things from scratch. And now this is something I've seen many times, and that's usually a move by either a developer who gets wrong instructions or by someone who's not experienced enough. And how this looks like is there's something necessary that you want to have being coded in your app, and the developer takes this as face value and builds it exactly in that way. Or the developer has a certain idea that they want to put into the software, and they don't look through the marketplace through all these different packages that are out there, which we can just take for free. Now there's a clear example I have, which something that happened to me last year, and I'm still upset that I didn't catch it. I let a developer build something that's in the management side of the app. So where the app has background jobs, the jobs need to get managed. And it roughly looks like this. Here you see the jobs that run through our system. In all these jobs, they do API calls. So yes, the jobs need to be managed. The developer coded something for around a month that did work. It was not great, but it did work. It managed the jobs. When I looked at it and I thought, this looks very familiar. And then I looked through the packages that are available on Ruby on Rails, and I found this one thing which does exactly the same thing that the developer did, but of course much better, because it's maintained, it's tested, it's coded by people way smarter than us all. And so by just taking this package that exists already, that took us 5 minutes. So the whole month of development has been nullified by just using a package that can just be included in 5 minutes. This is the biggest problem that I've seen that costs a lot of money. People being inexperienced and trying to build something non-standard. Our rule of thumb in any software that we make, we try to be as standard as possible. And of course, there are features we need for the USP of our app. We can code those ourselves. But everything else, every kind of thing on the management side, on the API side, there are so many things that you can just take and use without needing to code it yourself. Here you have it. These were the 5 reasons why the first developer cost you more than you think. Here's what I would like you to do. Think about your first developer hire and how much money they probably cost you that you shouldn't have paid in the first place. Leave a comment below and tell me your story, and I'm going to reply to it. And if you subscribe, we're going to meet again in the next video.